technical assistance program is an essential component of the Rotterdam Convention. It strengthens countries' capacities in chemicals and pesticide management. This is a prerequisite for the implementation of the Convention, of course. And the technical assistance promotes sound pesticide management and also alternatives to reduce the risk of these substances to human health and the environment.
Technical assistance is the provision of information, of training, of tools, of any kind of support to countries in order to implement the Rotterdam Convention. We have various types of technical assistance we can offer. For one country, it is more important to enhance the cooperation on a national basis. Some countries ask for particular support in monitoring pesticide poisoning cases. We can support countries in finding alternatives to newly listed chemicals under the Rotterdam Convention. We can offer training on how to create a national action plan. We can offer basic training on all the obligations, being taking final regulatory actions and notifying the Secretariat. We also provide tools and guidance documents. We have on our website a resource kit, which is currently restructured in order to make it more user-friendly. It's actually a country-driven or country-requested activities. We solicit the needs of countries. We actively ask them via questionnaires, via online information gathering, what it is they really need. And it is important that the country is really committed to work on a certain topic, that the country really wants to implement the convention in order to protect their people and their environment from the risks that, for example, pesticides pose.
In Africa and Near East, we were working over the last 13 years to provide technical assistance on the implementation of the Rotterdam Convention. As a result of all those activities, mainly in Sils region, we have already 2 pesticides listed in Annex 3 of the Convention based on the Sils notification, endosulfan and carbophyra. In addition, we have 3 other pesticides under consideration by the Convention.
La Secretaría del Convenio de Rotterdam ha recibido mucho apoyo por parte de la FAO en cuanto a la implementación del proyecto de capacidad en el país de identificar y monitorear incidentes relacionados con pesticidas peligrosas y extremadamente peligrosos.
The Rotterdam Convention provided technical assistance to 3 Portuguese-speaking countries in Africa, Cabo Verde, Guinea-Bissau and São Tomé and Príncipe. Intervention strategies was developed, including a baseline study for understanding the pesticide management at national level. Then a collection and analysis of data through a survey in the rural communities, and also a legal gap analysis report.
Tenho mesmo a salientar que foi extremamente importante porque permitiu a capacitação não só dos técnicos, como também da própria autoridade nacional designada e que nos permitiu dar resposta à importação, relativamente à resposta de importação.
A área mais importante foi a atualização do quadro legal. No quadro da assistência técnica, nós tivemos a oportunidade de constituir uma equipa de técnicos que trabalhou com o gabinete jurídico que foi contratado e recebemos a formação recebemos a capacitação da parte do Dr. Fabiano, que trabalha no Secretariado da Convenção, em matéria de elaboração de novo quadro legal.
example is the technical assistance work in Laos. We have facilitated a national dialogue in developing a national action plan. And the action plan has identified actions that needs to be taken, and also the role of each stakeholders, and the timeline and how to operate.
And we approved the new action plan, which is some pending notification and some survey that we need to conduct to report about some hazards and some incidents of the highly hazardous pesticide to Rotterdam Convention.
In Latin America, we were working over the last 8 years in a total of 8 countries, specifically providing them with technical assistance to strengthen their capacities to monitor and report severely hazardous pesticide formulations. We assisted the country in preparing surveys in pilot regions where the nationals went out to selected regions where pesticide use was high, it was known that the number of incidents is relatively high. So we provided resources for them to set up a monitoring program in pilot regions, and as a result of this activity in 8 Latin American countries, we have now in the convention for consideration already a carbosulfan proposal from Colombia, and those 8 countries made a huge progress in setting up such a system where improved the collection of pesticide poisoning reports, and that information is now being collected on a central level.
Es importante recibir asistencia técnica en el marco del convenio de Rotterdam, porque en México estamos todavía en una etapa de implementación en la que es necesario obviamente actualizarnos, conocer cuáles son los puntos críticos que deben ser atendidos y que en México aún.
6 Caribbean island states like Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. He did test studies on pests and pesticides present in the 6 islands, the agroecological practices present in the 6 islands, the alternatives, that's at the desk level. And the field part was carried out by the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute based in Trinidad and Tobago. This managed to do a field survey on the actual agricultural practices present in the 6 islands and the alternatives put in place by the population, by the target communities in the 6 islands.
So have an opportunity to share with Jamaicans and to share with the farming community information that we learned on integrated pest management. Using this information will make it easier for us to register pesticides that can be used as alternatives that are not as hazardous.
As we're a small island developing state, it is very difficult for us to get some of the information and to review some of the technical dossiers. So this particular project would have helped us in terms of our decision making and bridging gaps in terms of information. And so we're very happy that FAO and Rotterdam would have come together and collaborated with the Caribbean region.
Montenegro is a small country and they have challenges in terms of implementing the Rotterdam Convention as such. Our focus was basically to present the convention in general and then to focus on submission of these import responses. Of course, we invited various stakeholders from national level that are involved in the chemicals management, both for pesticide side and industrial chemical side at national level. At this point, I'm working with the country on preparing all the 51 import responses, helping them in preparing the drafts. And they are very close in submitting all of them, basically 51 import responses for 50 chemicals, as many as we have listed into Annex 3 of the Convention.
In general, technical assistance is financed by voluntary contributions. That means the Secretariat has to actively fundraise for any financial resources in order to carry out technical assistance. And we have certain donors, very important donors, that are regularly contributing to our activities. We receive funding, rather secure funding from FAO, from the FAO member states. We can also make use of other FAO resources, structures that FAO is offering.
And one of the important elements of technical assistance is that we look at what was the situation before we work with the country and then after. And this is important to monitor the effectiveness of the convention, because then we can see what have been the outcomes and then the impacts that we have helped to be produced. And by assessing or by identifying the baseline and the situation of the country at the moment that we start delivering technical assistance, we are able that throughout the time when we get the feedback from the country in terms of the outcomes and the impacts, we can see how much they have evolved in the regulatory framework, for example, how much they have been able to increase their notifications, and also the increase in the responses or submissions of regulatory actions.
We try to also observe in how far countries continue working on the chemicals agenda, if they get involved in other projects, if they are applying for example, under the special program for small projects, if they are joining forces with other countries in order to exchange information. We have been fostering cooperation of several African countries who then get together and just facilitated by the Secretariat.
At the design and planning phase, we try to make sure that this capacity strengthening in countries can be sustained on the longer term. So we are interested in providing the key elements and tools for countries to develop and increase their knowledge and expertise that allows them to comply with the obligations under the Rotterdam Convention. And also important is the dimension of enabling an environment at the country level where we can allow countries or promote the fostering collaboration between DNAs at the national level, but also engage other actors, stakeholders, which are important for countries to make an informed decision with the convention.
Please contact us for whatever information needs you have, whatever questions you have. I hope that we can ensure parties, people in the country, that we are people as well who want to work and who enjoy working with them. That is my wish, that there is a real cooperation between people who really care for environmental health and human health.